Hello everyone, in this video I will do a breakdown of all the build paths in the game, their strengths and weaknesses, and how to choose the best build path for your personal playstyle. This is the last video I will post before going on holiday vacation, and when I get back, which will be in about 1 week, I will start my new video series for where winds meet, build guides and tier lists, where I will show very in-depth guides on how to play and build each path and make tier lists for various categories such as PvE and PvP. This video will also contain a giveaway for 2 games, Rematch and Clair Obscure Expedition 33, on the platform of your choice. In order to participate in the giveaway, make sure to leave a comment on this video and be subscribed to the channel so that I can use a random username picker to determine the winner for each game. Since there are 2 games, there will be 2 winners. The winners will be drawn on the 24th of December at midnight, just in time for Christmas. Now let's get back to the video. The game has been out for more than 1 month now, and most of us have already picked our main build, but there are still people who are undecided or people that are newer to the game, and there is still a lot of time to change your build. Personally, I haven't yet decided which build path to use as my main, and my goal is to max out all of them to try them out in hard endgame content, to see which I like best and which performs best. I believe this game was designed such that you can have multiple or even all the build paths maxed out, so that you can switch your build whenever you want to, or depending on the content you are doing. Some builds are clearly better for PvE, while some are better for PvP. Some are better for boss farming, while some are better for outpost or general exploration farming. If we go to the improvement guide screen, we can see the path guide tab, which is where you can see all possible build paths in the game. I already did an in-depth breakdown of how build paths work with your martial arts in my gear system explanation video, to which I will leave a link in the comments. This video will only focus on each build path, their strengths, weaknesses and which content they are the best for. There are a total of 6 build paths in the game, with more to be added in the future. The most important thing to know is that each build path consists of 2 martial arts, and each martial art corresponds to a weapon class, which will determine your playstyle. You are free to combine martial arts from 2 different build paths, but for the purpose of this video, I will only cover the default list of martial arts combinations recommended by the game. Starting off with one of the most popular paths, which is the Bellstrike Splendor. This path combines 2 martial arts called Nameless Sword and Nameless Spear. You are essentially playing with a sword as your main weapon and a spear as your secondary support or burst weapon. This path is one of the most well-rounded in the game, offering decent DPS, mobility, survivability and control. It is the path with the highest mobility and lowest difficulty to play in the game, and it is good for both PvE and PvP. It does not really excel at anything besides mobility, but it's also not the worst at anything. This build is not too fast and not too slow, it's somewhere in the middle. It focuses on short bursts of damage and charge attacks, paired with good mobility and control. Your main martial art will be the Nameless Sword, which has the Daunting Strike martial art skill that stuns the enemy and makes you dash towards them, followed by a precision skill that gives you a chi shield and deals a lot of damage. Shadow Step plus Relentless Chase is your special skill combo, which makes you dash backwards throwing a shockwave and then allows you to dash back in and deal damage. Vagrant Sword is the charge skill for the Nameless Sword, throwing waves of energy at great range in front of you. Paired with the Sword Morph Inner Way, this charge skill turns into multiple waves of energy that deal a ton of damage and chi damage. This build path allows you to quickly deplete the enemy's chi bar while focusing on protecting yours, so it is especially good in PvP. The secondary martial art, Nameless Spear, is focused on control and burst damage using its heavy charge attack Storm Dance. You can lock enemies in place using Chang Kun's lock or wait for them to get exhausted, and then follow up with Storm Dance for devastating burst damage. Legion Crusher, the secondary skill, enhances your Storm Dance charge attack and makes it reach top speed even quicker. This build path excels at AoE enemy farming due to the large amount of AoE attacks that deal high chi damage, but it's also good for single target DPS. Due to its focus on chi damage and high mobility plus control, it is a PvP focused build that can also do well in PvE. You should choose the Bellstrike Splendor path if you enjoy a simple playstyle with high mobility, charge attacks with burst damage and single target control. Next, moving on to the Bellstrike Umbra path, which is yet another popular build path because it also uses a sword and spear combo. This path is the highest potential DPS build in the game, due to the high damage output of the bleed stacks it can apply constantly. The Umbra path is pretty much great all across the board, only lacking in survivability as it has no shields or healing mechanics. It is also very easy and satisfying to play, similarly to the gameplay of the Devil May Cry games. This pet uses the Strategic Sword and Heaven Quaker Spear martial arts combination. The Strategic Sword is your main DPS weapon that you will use to apply and consume bleed. Its inner track / martial arts skill dashes to an enemy and applies bleed, pretty simple. The special skill Inner Balance Strike makes you dash backwards and does a series of slashes in front of you applying bleed. This skill consumes the 5 stacks of bleed on the enemy, which is the cap to deal massive bonus damage. The Strategic Sword also has a charge skill called Second Track Slash that makes you dash forward and apply bleed, while also making you immune to damage during the dash. The other martial art, Heaven Quaker Spear, will be your main buffing martial art, which you can use to increase the damage of your bleed stacks, reduce the enemy's defense and more. The martial art skill, Sober Sorrow, makes you spin the spear and deal 6 consecutive AoE hits, and then when the skill ends, you get a buff based on the number of hits you dealt. At 5 hits you get the weakest buff, and at 10 plus you get the best one. After this, you use your special skill Sweep All to apply various debuffs to the enemy and deal a ton of damage based on the buff you got from Sober Sorrow. Lastly and most importantly, the spear's charge skill, Drifting Trust, is what makes your bleed stacks deal more damage, including the bonus damage when consuming them. You should aim to use the charge skill once before switching back to your strategic sword to maximize your damage. Heaven Quaker Spear also has very good crowd control and AoE damage, good for PvP and dealing with multiple enemies at once. Due to the high amount of damage from the bleed stacks and the fact you can constantly apply them, consume them and reapply them, paired with various buffs and debuffs, this build path has potential to reach the highest DPS in any PvE content. Due to the low survivability and mobility, however, it is weaker in PvP than other builds. You should choose the Bellstrike Umbra path if you enjoy a simple playstyle with the highest DPS in the game, a very flashy and mobile moveset, and especially if you are a fan of Virgil from Devil May Cry. Let's move on to the Stonesplit Mind path, which is essentially the only tank build in the game. This path combines the Thundercry Blade and Stormbreaker Spear martial arts for the highest survivability in the game and very good damage at the same time. It is a very well-rounded path, only lacking in mobility, and it is also one of the easiest ones to play. This build uses a Maw Blade and a Spear as the two weapons for the martial arts. The Thundercry Blade will be your main weapon most of the time. This is where the bulk of your damage comes from and your survivability. Looking at the martial arts skill Predator's Shield, this is the most important skill in your arsenal. This gives you a 25% HP shield that lasts for 8 seconds and gives you 2 bars of Fighting Spirit. Fighting Spirit is a resource that is shared between your Thundercry Blade and Stormbreaker Spear, and it is used to cast the special skills of both weapons and perform charged attacks with boosted effects. The Sunrush Gale special skill is your main control skill, which pulls in enemies around you while dealing damage. This consumes 2 bars of Fighting Spirit to use. Next we have the light and heavy charged attacks. Both light and heavy attacks can be charged in 3 stages, and if you charge them all the way up to stage 3 and release them, they will consume 1 Fighting Spirit to deal increased damage and unlock a varied combo where you can press the attack input button again to deal another quick charge attack that consumes 1 more Fighting Spirit. Lastly, one of the most important aspects of the Thundercry Blade is that you can launch counter attacks while defending. If you have the exquisite Scenery Inner Way equipped, when you hold the block button and you get hit, you can immediately launch a charge attack that deals a lot of damage and stagger. Moving on to the Stormbreaker Spear, this is your main support weapon. The Storm Roar martial art skill is your taunt ability, which taunts nearby enemies for 8 seconds and gives you damage reduction. This is what allows you to actually become the tank in your multiplayer party. The Thunder Shock special skill is your damaging ability with this weapon that also gives you mobility, and it consumes 2 Fighting Spirit to use. The Spear also has a charge attack that gives you the drum beat buff when used, which transforms your Predator Shield Thundercry Blade skill into Heaven's Shift. It has the same exact effect, giving you a 25% HP shield, but now it also gives you a breakthrough damage buff. You should generally only use your Spear to apply the taunt debuff to enemies and buff your shield skill, and mainly use your Thundercry Blade to tank and deal damage. This is a good all-around build path that does not excel in DPS, but it is crucial in group PvE as all parties need a tank, and it is also very strong in PvP due to the insane survivability and crowd control. You should choose the Stonesplit Might path if you enjoy playing the tank role, being unkillable and having very slow but hard hitting attack combos. Next, moving on to the Silkbind Jade path. This is the only ranged DPS build in the game, and it is the highest crowd control and third highest DPS build and the hardest to play, so it is definitely a path that rewards skilled players. This path combines the Inkwell Fan and Vernal Umbrella martial arts, which synergize really well with each other. It uses a fan and umbrella as the two weapons for the martial arts. This build path focuses on both ground and aerial attacks, giving you multiple tools to knock up enemies in the air and combo them while they're up. Inkwell Fan's martial arts skill, Jade Wind Shield, puts down a wind shield in front of you that blocks enemy projectiles, and any projectiles of yours that go through it become empowered. This shield also blocks all enemies except bosses from passing through it, so you can use it to protect yourself and kite enemies. The special skill Peak's Springless Silence dashes to the target, knocks them in the air and creates a water clone at your initial location, which you can use to get back to your starting point. If you hit the enemy after knocking them up, you gain the Wind Rider buff, which enhances your aerial combos. The charge skill Forsaken Flame throws a tornado that knocks humanoid targets airborne. The Inkwell Fan is excellent for boosting your projectile attacks and launching humanoid enemies in the air to combo them. Moving on to the Vernal Umbrella, which is more of a supporting martial art for the Inkwell Fan. The martial art skill Spring Sorrow throws a long-range projectile that immobilizes non-boss enemies for 3 seconds. If you have the Blossom Barrage Inner Way equipped, this applies a debuff that increases the damage taken by the enemy. The special skill Unfading Flower requires 50 Blossom to use. Blossom is a resource only used by the Vernal Umbrella that you can gain by attacking with it. You throw the umbrella in the air and it automatically fires projectiles at a target within 5 meters of you. During this time you can switch weapons or use the hidden blade to keep attacking. If you activate this skill while the target is airborne, you will deal more damage and keep the target airborne for longer. This is a great skill to combo with your Inkwell Fan's special skill. The Umbrella's light attack is a range attack while the heavy attack is a melee attack. You can interrupt each of these combos with the opposite type of attack, for example using a heavy attack after starting a light attack combo for more powerful combo attacks. The Apricot Heaven charge skill makes you fly into the air with your umbrella, and after charging either to stage 1 or 2, you perform a downward attack that deals great AoE damage. The Spring Away charge skill, which is activated by holding the light attack button, makes you fly into the air and constantly launch projectiles at your target location until you run out of stamina. This is one of your highest DPS skills for this path. You can also just jump into the air and press the button combination for the special skill to float until you run out of stamina or until you perform a downward attack. This build is especially strong in PvP, where you're always fighting humanoid enemies, so you can utilize your skill set to its full potential. You should choose the Silkbind Jade path if you enjoy playing a ranged DPS role, dealing with enemies from a distance and performing complex aerial combos while also kiting enemies around. Keep in mind that this is the most difficult build path to master out of all the paths. Moving on to the Bamboocut Wind path, which is essentially your dual blade build from other games. This path is another great all-around build, only lacking in survivability, and it's the build with the second highest DPS potential in the game. It uses the martial arts combination of Infernal Twin Blades and Mortal Rope Dart for devastating single target DPS. The Infernal Twin Blades martial art uses the Dual Blades weapon, while the Mortal Rope Dart uses the Rope Dart weapon class. This whole build path focuses on dealing damage through light attacks after applying various buffs to yourself and debuffs to the enemy. It has the fastest attack speed out of all the build paths. It uses precise timings and perfect dodging to create large windows to deal insane DPS with the Infernal Twin Blades. The martial arts skill Addled Mind is your dash skill, which holds 3 charges and you can use to get close to the enemy or just deal extra burst damage and charge your Karmic Flame faster. Karmic Flame is the resource you will see above the Infernal Twin Blades icon, which fills up when you deal damage with the Twin Blades. Once it fills up, you can activate Flame Lash, which makes your light attacks enhanced into Celestial Fury, dealing more damage, attacking faster, and having a longer combo string. This mechanic is the key element of the Infernal Twin Blades, and this is where most of your DPS comes from. While Flame Lash is active, you also gain increased critical rate and critical damage, so you can theoretically switch to a different weapon and still benefit from these bonus effects. The special skill Calamity's Greed is an AoE skill that throws the blade forward, making it spin in place, and you can recast it to deal an AoE slash, dealing high chi damage. Another key element of the Infernal Twin Blades is the Perfect Dodge Enhancement talent, which creates a 3-second breath hold when you perform a perfect dodge, making everything move in slow motion and allowing you to dish out a ton of damage during this window. You have to become good at perfect dodging enemy attacks, and once you do, you can essentially be in perma time slow, which allows you to deal with any boss or enemy very quickly and without taking damage. Moving on to the Mortal Rope Dart, which is your support martial art for the Infernal Twin Blades. This martial art is great at applying buffs and debuffs, which increase your DPS considerably. The martial art skill Bladebound Thread pulls the enemy towards you or yourself to the boss enemy and applies a Vendetta token. Vendetta token makes targets take 50% more damage from the rodent and restores your token of gratitude. Token of gratitude is the resource you will see above your rope dart icon, which is required by your special skill. The rodent is a special buff applied by the Mortal Rope Dart, which essentially gives your light attacks a sort of companion that comes out and attacks with you, kind of like dealing extra hits with each attack. The special skill Rodent Rampage consumes 1 token of gratitude to summon a rat for assistance. Whenever you perform a light attack, the rat comes out and deals damage to the enemy. This buff lasts for 10 seconds and remains active when switching weapons. The Charging Stance attack Rodent's Resilience is activated by pressing the heavy attack button once. This makes you start spinning the rope dart and you gain various buffs depending on the duration of the spin. If you spin it for at least 1.5 seconds, it enhances your Rodent Rampage skill and makes it summon additional rats to assist with your light attacks. If you spin it for more than 3 seconds, you start restoring health. If you spin it for more than 4.5 seconds, you start restoring chi as well. The Mortal Rope Dart also has a talent that makes enemies take 40% more chi damage by applying bone corrosion to them. The ideal combo would be to use your Charging Stance for 1.5 seconds to buff your rodent, then use Bladebound Thread to increase the rodent's damage, then use your Rodent Rampage skill to summon the rats, switch to your Infernal Twin Blades and start destroying enemies. If you also have your Karmic Flame bar full and you activate Flame Lash, this is where your maximum DPS output will be achieved. You should choose the Bamboocut Wind Path if you enjoy playing a melee DPS role and having a playstyle consisting of buffing yourself, then spamming fast light attacks to deal damage. It's a pretty simplistic playstyle, and if you're on a controller, it can be pretty tiring, but it is also highly rewarding and deals a ton of DPS. Lastly, we have the Silkbind Deluge build path, which uses the same weapon classes as Silkbind Jade, a fan and umbrella. This is basically the one and only healing path in the game so far. It combines the Panacea fan and Soul Shade umbrella for tons of healing and buffs to yourself and your teammates, and it can also revive dead teammates. Both of these martial arts use a shared resource called Dew, which is indicated by these green droplets above your martial arts icon. Various skills can consume Dew to become empowered and either heal more or apply better buffs. The Panacea fan will be your main martial art, while the umbrella is only used to apply various buffs and burst healing. The fan's Cloud Burst Healing martial art skill is probably the most important in the whole kit. It generates 20 Dew and summons a water clone for 7 seconds that heals all nearby allies once per second. If your Dew is full after casting it, you can consume it to trigger perception skill Endless Cloud, which deals a large burst of healing to all allies within range. The special skill Light Dust After Morning Rain consumes 50 Dew to apply a healing over time buff to yourself and the ally with the lowest health. If someone in your team is dead, you can use the perception skill Resurrection instead to revive that ally. The Panacea fan's heavy attack is replaced by a healing skill, which means every time you press the heavy attack button, you heal the targeted ally and generate Dewdrop. Moving on to the Soul Shade umbrella, which is more of a supporting type of martial art. The Floating Grace martial art skill applies an AoE buff to yourself and nearby allies of 15% increased damage for 8 seconds and also heals once. The special skill Echoes of 1,000 Plants throws the umbrella in the air, increasing your healing by 15% and generating Dew over time. The umbrella will follow you and automatically heals the ally with the lowest health nearby, including yourself. One important thing to note here is that this skill can be automatically triggered while using the fan if you use the perception skill Endless Cloud. The charge skill of the Soul Shade umbrella can extend the duration of the exhaustion status of enemies as long as you hold the button pressed. Overall, this is the best supporting path providing healing, reviving and damage buffs to yourself and your team. You should choose the Silkbind Deluge path if you enjoy playing a healer role consisting of a very simple playstyle that provides healing, revives and various other buffs to your party. And with this we have covered all the build paths. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I will be doing separate in-depth playstyle and building guides for each of the paths in the upcoming weeks. Overall, we have the following build paths which have potential to be the best in each category. Bellstrike Umbra has potential for the highest DPS, Silkbind Jade has potential for the highest crowd control, Silkbind Deluge is easily the best for support, Bellstrike Splendor has potential for the best mobility, Stonesplit Might is easily the best for survivability, and Silkbind Jade is the most difficult build path to master. That being said, keep in mind that this game is all about how you play, not what you play. Player skill matters the most, and you can get out damaged by a build that is considered weak in terms of DPS. Don't look at the DPS meter in multiplayer modes, because that can be heavily influenced by mystic skills and inner ways, so it doesn't mean anything. Just because you are not first on the DPS meter, it does not mean your build is worse than that of the number 1 DPS on the meter. You have to master your build's playstyle and combos and incorporate mystic skills and inner ways into your playstyle, to ensure you get the maximum output from your build path. Don't forget to leave a comment on the video to participate in the giveaway and make sure to be subscribed to the channel. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.